There was a time when no one knew what a house was. At dawn, the wind crossed the tall grass without meeting walls. Every morning, the landscape seemed new. No way, no village, only paths traced by the steps of men and animals. I've been walking with my group since I remember. We carried everything we had on our shoulders, a skin to fix us from the cold, some stone tools, woven baskets with still-scented branches of wood. The days were marked by light. When the sun rose, we were looking for ripe berries, roots, and fresh water. When the wind changed direction, we followed the traces of the animals. Every noise could have been a promise or a danger. Nobody thought next year. Just get to the sunset. Then something started to change. The seasons did not seem so predictable. Some places offered less food. Others, however, continued to donate seeds, water, and animals year after year. Some older people slowed down. The children were increasingly numerous. Starting each time required a huge effort. For the first time, we didn't ask where to go. We wondered if it was really necessary to leave. Sometimes history changes direction thanks to such a small detail that seems invisible. We returned to the same valley when the cold left space in the first mild days. The river continued to flow slow. The trees had returned to fill with leaves. But it was the ground that drew eyes. Where months before some seeds had fallen during the preparation of food, a dense group of wild ears grew. No one planted them with the intention of cultivating them. And yet they were there, the land seemed to remember. Hands collected the ears one after the other. The beans were more numerous than the group remembered. It was based on that image to raise a question that no generation had ever really asked. What if it is possible to help the land return what it offered spontaneously? Someone scattered other seeds near the water. There were no ordered fields. There were no plows, only simple, almost instinctive gestures, repeated with patience. No one knew it would work. No one could afford to wait months without continuing to hunt and collect. So the group resumed the path, but this time left something behind. Not an object, hope. During the journey, thought often returned to that small clearing. If the seeds had grown, perhaps it would not have been necessary to chase food continuously. Maybe the kids would walk less. Perhaps the elderly could have stayed longer. But staying in the same place also meant facing a risk never known. If the crop failed, there would have been no time to start over elsewhere. Between the desire to stop and the instinct to continue to walk, the fate of humanity was taking shape, one seed after the other. The return was slower than the return trip. Each step was accompanied by the same question. Would the valley keep its promise, or would the wind cancel all hope along with the tracks left months earlier? When the river appeared beyond the trees, no one spoke. The ears waved to read. They grew up. Not perfect. Not as many as the crops we know today, but enough to prove that the earth could offer something to those who decided to return. That day changed the meaning of time. Until then, the group had always thought about the present, to the food of the day, the next night. Now you had to imagine the months that would come. You had to wait, protect, remember. Some began to free small spaces from weeds. Others collected flat stones to delimit the areas where the seeds would be spread the next season. They weren't houses yet. They were signs. Signs saying, "We'll be back here," quote. Fire also changed role. First it was lit where it had. Now the hearth was in the same place for days. Around the ash, bones, tools were accumulated, skewers. The land slowly began to tell a story. Theirs. But not everyone was convinced. Some observed the horizon with nostalgia. They knew the world beyond that valley. They knew that staying meant giving up the freedom to follow herds and seasons. Remaining meant trusting the earth. And the earth could betray. When the sun set behind the hills, no one made the decision out loud. And yet that night, for the first time, no one will pack their bags. The houses were not born in one day. They were born from a question. How long will we stay? At first, no one built something destined to last. Some folded branches, skins stretched against the wind, enough shelter for a few more nights. Then the rain came. Water turned the ground into mud. The wind had some shells sold out every time we had to start again. So someone looked at the wet ground. The mud hardened in the sun. The stones remained firm. The poles resisted better if you set deeper. It wasn't a sudden invention. It was a long series of attempts. Day after day, small walls of kneaded ground appeared. Covered roofs of rods and branches protected the fireplace. Inside, there was just the space to sleep, keep some baskets, and keep the tools away from the rain. For the first time, the fire did not belong only to the night. It belonged to a place. The walls held heat. The smoke was slowly coming out of the roof opening. The children could fall asleep without someone taking shelter before sunrise. Also, memories began to have an address. A child was born here. A vase was repaired there. Next to the hearth, an old man had told stories during the winter. The land no longer kept only prints. He kept the lives. But every house made it harder to leave. Every built wall took time. Every basket full of wheat became something to defend. Every season spent in the same place caused new problems. Who would protect the crop? Who would decide where to build the next house? Without noticing it, humans were not building only a village. They were building a community, and together with the community, were creating rules that no one had ever had to follow before. The land had kept its promise. Now it was up to humans to keep their own. The summer filled the fields of golden ears. In the morning, the dew shone on the ends of the grass wires. The air smelled like straw and hot ground. Hands worked hard. Every harvest wheat bundle represented days of life earned. For the first time, not all food was consumed immediately. Part was preserved. It was an extraordinary novelty, and also dangerous. Braided baskets were covered with clay, and small containers protected the grains from moisture and animals. That crop didn't belong to the present. It belonged to the winter that had not yet arrived. But the scent of wheat also attracted other visitors. Birds, small rodents, wild animals, and sometimes people. One day, on the horizon, some unknown figures appeared. They were travelers like them for generations. They were looking for water. They were looking for food. The village kept them silent. No one had ever had to defend a field, because a field couldn't be taken away. He could just be busy. The exchange was prudent. Some tools changed the owner. Some food was shared. But something was different. For the first time, there was a place that someone felt like their own. Not a mountain. Not a river. That little piece of land. Without wanting, men had invented another idea destined to change the world. The border. It wasn't marked by walls. It existed in the mind, and it was real enough to change everyone's behavior. The village continued to grow. With it, they grew the harvest, hopes, and also the problems that no one had yet learned to solve. The houses always seemed the same, but those who lived in them were changing. Days didn't start chasing the traces of animals anymore. They started in front of the camps. The sun rose slowly as men, women, and children came out of their homes one after another. The village woke up together. There were those who repaired stone tools, those who intertwined new baskets, who controlled the preserved wheat, whoever collected water from the river. For the first time, not everyone did the same job. Work began to split. The elderly had no longer to face long trips. They stood by the fire. They remembered the past seasons. They taught youngsters how to keep seeds and when to wait for rain. Memory became a valuable asset, more valuable than strength. Children also grew differently. They didn't just learn to follow the animal tracks. They learned about every tree in the village, every corner of the river, every path between the huts. That place became part of their identity. But living so close also had a price. The stocks could deteriorate. Animals left waste near homes. Diseases found new ways to spread among people who shared the same spaces day by day. Life had become more stable, not necessarily simpler. Each conquest brought with it a new responsibility. Every advantage opened the door to a problem never faced before. It was the price of immobility, yet no one seemed willing to give up what he had built, because there were not only objects between those walls of land. There were memories. There were hopes. There was a future that could finally be imagined, but the village would not have remained small for long. The more people came, the more difficult it became to live as one family. A village does not only grow by adding new houses. It grows when people learn to make decisions together. The seasons continued to follow. The harvest came, then the cold. Cold left room for spring. Every year new families chose that valley. The huts increased. The paths became wider. The prince didn't disappear anymore. Over time, questions were born that no one had ever faced. Who would have cultivated that piece of land? Who would repair the canal that brought water to the fields? Who would help a family if the crop was lost? For the first time, the answers were not about a single individual. They were all about it. Some nights, when the work ended and the wind was cooler, the inhabitants found themselves near the common fire. They didn't need horns. No building needed. They were listening. Experience. Trust. Older people remembered the mistakes of past seasons. The younger ones proposed new ideas. Each decision was born of the need to continue to live together. Even who was sick or too old to work was no longer left behind with the same ease of time. The village had learned that taking care of others meant taking care of itself. The fate of a man influenced the fate of all. It was a silent transformation. For hundreds of thousands of years, human beings had lived in small mobile groups. Now they were learning something completely new. Large-scale collaboration. Not perfect, not without conflicts, but strong enough to allow tens, then hundreds of people to share the same place. Without realizing it, they had built something that no hut could contain. An idea. The idea of belonging to a community. And from that simple idea would be born cities, kingdoms, and civilizations. But this is another story. In this documentary, the following works and research institutions have been used as main historical sources. Yuval Noah Harari, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. Ian Hodder, The Leopard's Tale, Revealing the Mysteries of Catalhoyuk. Graeme Barker, The Agricultural Revolution in Prehistory. Why did foragers become farmers? Brian M. Fagan, The Long Summer, How Climate Changed Civilization. David R. Harris, The Origins and Spread of Agriculture and Pastoralism in Eurasia. Bruce D. Smith, The Emergence of Agriculture. Peter Bellwood, First Farmers, The Origins of Agricultural Societies. Rebecca Ragg Sykes, Kindred, Neanderthal Life, Love, Death, and Art, for the context of Paleolithic and hunter-gathering societies. National Geographic Society, Smithsonian Institution, British Museum, Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology. Nature. Science, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, Journal of Human Evolution. Research on the origins of agriculture and the first villages is constantly evolving. New archaeological discoveries and genetic analysis allow each year to better understand how, in different regions of the world, human groups have embarked on similar paths towards a sedentary life. For this reason, some aspects remain the subject of debate among scholars, while the general framework is supported by a broad scientific consensus.